All right, everybody, welcome back to the Beans No Ball podcast. Good morning. Welcome to week 11 edition of Sunday Morning Chat. Obviously, a lot to go over, lot going on this year. Before we get into NFL, of course, USC big win over the massive rivalry in the UCLA. Great game there. But let's just get it going.
Yeah, so this Sunday chat obviously. It's pretty small episode before we get the week going. Let's just kick it off real quick with some quick NFL news to begin with. So to start things off, the Bills and Browns game officially got moved to Ford Field at Detroit. So thankfully Detroit was nice enough to let the stadium to play the game there. Because I think it was Buffalo had 6 inches of snow. 6 feet, not inches, 6 feet of snow. Yeah,
so got a couple players under 6 feet. So,
Devin Singletary, what is he, 5'10"? So it's 2 inches short. Couldn't get Josh Allen just barely, 5 inches above the snow, but still.
I mean, regardless, that would have been pretty hard to do. Regardless, I mean, it would have been nice to get an absolutely legendary snow game out of that.
Yeah, but
it's a little too much when it's 6 feet. So
yeah, workers were even shoveling it, but still not working. So I mean, it was pretty good. It was postponed, but I mean, it would have been nice to have the snow game.
Yeah, and in other news, we got another free agency pretty late in the year for free agency, but obviously I know this guy pretty well. Took us to the Super Bowl a couple years back in Ndamukong Suh. Great player, obviously a great D lineman. Won a Super Bowl with the Bucs. He is signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Another move to try to bolster that defense, maybe to try to shred off that fraud identity that they picked up after quite a big loss to the Commanders. So that's basically I don't know how much it really will help them, considering he's getting up there in age. He hasn't played all year. Obviously, he's been a free agent, so he's going to be rusty and barely coming back week 11. It's going to take some time for him to get accustomed.
Yeah, I mean, this just shows that the Eagles, Howie Roseman really just proving the whole Philly fan base wrong, that he can't do anything to fix the team. And clearly this year is showing that he's going all out for that Super Bowl. This is probably the reason why they're probably favored to go to the Super Bowl, let alone win the East, which is most likely going to happen. I mean, compared to other teams like Jerry Jones, he has not done anything to help this team get any better. He talks about saying we want to go all out. Hasn't done anything. He says he likes our guys. Clearly, the Packers game showed we do need another veteran receiver to kind of fill up the gap, kind of open the space. But I mean, as of right now, Ndamukong Suh, he could possibly bring something to that pass rush once again. But I feel like for a couple of games he's going to be a little iffy, but he'll probably get back on track. And another news, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, Odell Beckham Jr. He is set to visit the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants after their Thanksgiving game on Thursday. So that could be interesting. Could it be a Odell Giants reunion, or could it be a Dallas Cowboys acquiring for our receiving core? Because we do need another receiver to kind of fill up the gap for Cooper. We need to spread it out more. So, but the thing is, Odell wants a lot of money, and we don't have the cap space for that. So we're just gonna have to see after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, selfishly for nostalgia, I would love to see him back on the Giants. But hey, for your sake, who knows if he goes to the Cowboys? Obviously, it's out of the question to come back to my Rams. So that we're gonna have to figure something else out for the receiving core. But yeah, and of course about my Rams, one last really painful note that just came out last night. As everyone already basically knew, that Cooper Kupp injury was going to be pretty big. It did look pretty bad even since the moment it happened, and it was confirmed now that he will probably be missing upwards of 6 to 8 weeks. So that basically puts him out for the season, realistically. So he's a tough guy. He's probably going to want to fight back and make it, but the way the team looks, I would honestly prefer the team to just shut him down for the year, let him rehab, let him just take it on out for work towards 2023, because what's the point in like re-aggravating it and it being an even worse injury, because we already know he's had injury troubles in the past. He missed Super Bowl 53 when he tore his ACL, and I'd hate to see him, hurt his career. He could obviously be one of the greats at the receiving position, and I'd like him to stay in that trajectory. And it's basically gonna wrap up the NFL news. Not too much going, but pretty decent enough. So we'll move on to our cash or trash segment. And I see last week we forgot to actually hit on our prior week outcome or whatever. So this week we'll actually hit it. We had running backs last week, and for cash, I actually took a pretty smooth victory. I took Saquon, which, as I had said, is an easy pick. And Christian, you took Khalil Herbert after I was really hyping him up that I wanted him. I picked him up on fantasy. He got injured and didn't really get much of a workload regardless, so he only had 5.7. Saquon had 23 points, so easy win for me. Khalil Herbert's on IR now, so it's gonna hurt the Bears run game a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously for trash, you did take this one. I kind of just was really down on Darrell Henderson, which, I mean, he usually doesn't do much, and just the day I want to talk about it, he gets 10.2, nothing crazy, but way more than he's used to. So I mean, when I show up to SoFi, he just has a productive game all of a sudden. And for you, Christian, you did take the win because you went with Madison of the Minnesota Vikings, which he only got 2.9. So as high as you are on him, you did make the right call to say that he would have a slow game. So yeah, and so I mean, I guess let you take on and tell us what position we're doing this week, man.
All right, so y'all know how we do cash or trash. We just move positions now. So we're doing receivers this week. So for my cash receiver, I'm picking CeeDee Lamb. Finally picking one of my boys for the cash once again. Looking at last week's game, even though it was a loss, that Dak to CD connection has looked really good that game, and it's been getting better throughout the weeks to come. Throughout the weeks that have passed, the connections have been looking good. The chemistry seems to be there. So really, we got a tough game against Minnesota. We're going against a very, very great team, probably the second best. I would say maybe even the best team in the NFC. But it's gonna be a really great game here. Obviously, that defense is gonna play a big factor, but I really got a huge game for CD today. If that connection with Dak is gonna be super strong, and if it keeps being like this, it should be great for the rest of the season. But it really just depends on the chemistry between them, and I think that they're going to develop extremely more as the weeks go on. For my trash, I'm picking. It's going to hurt me, especially since we are USC fans. I'm going to have to pick Michael Pittman Jr. for trash. They are playing Philly. Philly is coming a tough loss, so I expect they're pretty much. I would expect that they're going to play angry with a lot of force, and it saddens me that I would pick Michael Pittman Jr. for my trash, but with a very great Philly team, it's just obvious got to go with.
Yeah, of course that's always going to hurt, but yeah, especially after riding high on SC right now. But yeah, so for me, it's going to be I guess more of the same, more of a easy pick to go with, I would say. For cash, I'm gonna go with Stefon Diggs. It's a pretty decent matchup. They're playing the Browns, so, but I mean, their defense isn't really known to be the best, so I would expect him to have a really good game, especially coming off some not poor performances, but I mean they haven't been winning, obviously, so the Bills are going to be playing mad. And I mean, we say this every week, but ever since they've been struggling. But I mean, against the Browns, I would expect them to really go off here. So yeah, I'll go with Diggs to have a really strong connection with Josh Allen for my cash. And in trash, not too much of a bias here if we're gonna call it, but against my Rams defense, I'm gonna go with Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. I feel, if we do put Jalen on him, I do expect him to get clamped up pretty good. So I mean that could come back to bite me just as good as Olave has been in his rookie year, but I'm gonna stick with him, just assuming he kind of slows down against, because I mean let's be real, our defense has been pretty good, just has some stumbles here and there. I mean that they are the bright spot of this team. So moving on from that, we'll get into fantasy. So just right off the bat, I keep cycling my team over and over. I finally did decide to get rid of Matthew Stafford. So for my new quarterback that I brought in, I'm taking the legend of Taylor Heineke. He was on waivers, so I mean, I just thought, why not? I got another week until another 2 weeks until my real starter can come back. So I'm gonna go with Heineke at quarterback. I think they're playing the Texans, so that's a real favorable matchup. So I feel comfortable with that. And then obviously for my running backs, my 1-2 punch, Derrick Henry and Saquon. Just Derrick Henry, he already got me 25 points on Thursday night, so I'm already set, at least in that regard. And Saquon, they're playing the Lions defense. So what more can you say? I'm expecting probably another 25 from him if we're being realistic, just how they've looked. And for receivers, I finally, after what seems like maybe 4 or 5 weeks now, I finally get Mike Williams back. He is finally off his injury. He's still questionable. We'll see if I have to make a game time decision. I will, but all signs point towards him coming back this week against the Chiefs on Sunday night. So I'm expecting some decent numbers from him. And I also picked up Tyler Boyd of the Bengals. I'm pretty weak at receiver right now since Tyreek's on bye, so we'll see what numbers Boyd can put up. They're playing the Steelers, so I expect decent enough from him. And at my flex, I have Devin Singletary, and I see he's been pretty good with the Bills all year, so I would expect a pretty average game for him. Just give me at least 10 points, I'll be happy. And as we know, always talk about it, I always cycle my defense. So I brought in the Bears. They're playing Atlanta. Could be an average game, but I wouldn't really want to bring out the Chiefs in a game where they're playing the Chargers. Chargers can sometimes run it up a bit on them. So I feel better with the Bears here. And my kicker, must be said, Daniel Carlson. He's been the man all year, so I expect him to get enough, especially with that offense not really being the best when they get to the red zone. So that's another cycle lineup for this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's another different lineup from you, especially players getting injured online. But with my fantasy team, I only had to cycle like 2 or 3 players, so not much. So obviously at quarterback, I got my man, my boy Dak Prescott there once again. I forgot to start him last week because I actually started Mariota, but he still got me 17. But I'm going back with Dak. I'm really hoping for a bounce back with him. I just really hope he does well for the remaining weeks, and I really hope that, especially with our atrocious fan base crapping on them already, and it's already making me mad. But let's go past that. That's for that week's episode, for this week's episode. And then my running backs, Aaron Jones already played. He got me 14 points, so not too bad. So I already have him, and then I have down to Foreman at running back as well. So I should be pretty good with that. I was gonna start Zeke, but he's coming off an injury once again, so I don't think we're in a. I really hope we actually utilize him, but again, I still don't think he's 100%, even though he says it, because look what happened last season, saying he was good, and then he really doesn't do anything. So that's pretty much what I'm scared of. But I'm starting Donta Foreman this week. My receivers, this is my 1-2 punch. Jay Jettis and AJ Brown. I'm kind of scared for JJ Jettis because he is playing my Cowboys, and I am going to fear he's going to go off. We already lost 2 of our starting quarterbacks. So realistically, it's only Diggs, a rookie, and our second year, Kevin Joseph, and then a rookie, which is DaRon Bland. So that's really what I'm scared of. So I really hope Diggs is on him all game. I feel like Diggs could lock him up for the majority of the game. I feel like Jay Jettis will get a good catch here and there, but from the way Diggs has been playing, even the way Jay Jettis has been playing, they've both been playing phenomenal. But I really hope Diggs does get some knockdown plays against them. AJ Brown, they're playing the Colts. That Colts defense is pretty bad. So I really hope AJ Brown does go off. Last week against the Commanders, he had a horrible game. It was a pretty disappointing game. I think he only had one catch for 7 yards, I believe, or something like that. But it was less, and it was horrible for his standards. So I really hope he bounces back this week against the Colts, especially coming off that loss against the Commanders. And then for my tight ends, I had to sit out both my tight ends. They're both on bye. So I had to pick up another tight end off waivers. I picked up Coughlin from the Jets. I don't know. I really haven't been seeing Coughlin play, let alone the Jets a lot. But I hope he at least gets me 10 points. Because with Mike Gesicki, he was getting me some decent amount of points. So I really hope Coughlin really capitalizes on that. And then for my flex, sadly, I'm going to have to put Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Or maybe I might swap it out with Zeke. But as of right now, it is Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the flex. I'm kind of nervous for this because he did get me 0 points last week. I somehow still managed to win, but Edwards-Helaire got me 0 last week. I really did not expect that. And I have him at my flex this week. So I'm still contemplating. So it's either going to be Clyde or Zeke at the flex. But as of right now, it's going to be Clyde. My defense, I actually switched my Cowboys defense with the Bengals. They are playing Pittsburgh, so I do expect a really big marginal win for the Bengals, at least 10, 15 points. So that's the reason I swapped, because the Cowboys defense, I know for a fact it's going to be like a very high-scoring game. So it's going to be a great game, too. It's going to be high-scoring, so I don't think the defense is going to get that many good points on me. And then for my kicker, obviously, the man, the myth, Will Lutz. He's pretty much been carrying my fantasy all year. Never doubt Will Lutz, and he's my kicker. Thank God I started him over Jake Elliott, and I think it was Prater from the Cardinals. But yeah, Will Lutz is my kicker. That's my team. It's pretty average at best, but see what the players can do.
Yeah, I see. We'll see how we do. I think I had a really favorable matchup with someone that doesn't set their lineup again. So I mean, I don't know what your matchup looks like, but I feel pretty good. Especially, I mean, you got a decent lineup, so we'll see how that looks. But yeah, that's for the most part gonna wrap us up on this Week 11 episode for Sunday morning. Obviously, hopefully get this wrapped up real quick and get to watching. The World Cup starts today. Of course, me being a big soccer fan, you at least you'll watch the Mexico games, but yeah, of course, gonna be up every morning, even during school when Thanksgiving breaks done.
Well, good thing we're on break this week. So
first week of the World Cup will be on break. Then next 3 weeks after we're back on after break, it's not much schoolwork gonna be done. But yeah, so as for football, that's gonna do it. You know, as always, appreciate everyone sticking around watching these videos, and let's go enjoy some football. Christian, anything from you?
Nothing much. You pretty much said it. Just like to thank anyone who's been sticking around, or some new people that are started watching our podcast. We highly appreciate it. You know, just love what we want to do, and nothing else much to say. We'll see you guys later this week.